All right, guys, so we're continuing on. We're on page 4 here. This was page 1. We saw all this. We did page 2. We did page 3. And in the last video, we started on page 4 by looking at the area of a circle. Now, a couple of examples, a little bit more challenging at the bottom of page 4. First one, there's what's challenging about it. Really, this isn't that challenging, except problem with it is that you don't have a picture. So how do you deal with the fact that there is no diagram? You guys know the answer that I'm thinking of here. You've got to make one yourself. I've got a circle here. This is meant to be my elaborate picture of a carpet, and I know it's got a diameter of 4.2 meters. It's a good-sized carpet to have in your living room here. And if I know that the diameter is 4.2 meters and I want to find the area, then that's going to be pretty easy, right? I just got to say to myself, diameter is 4.2. That means that the diameter is 4.2. The radius is, who knows it? Oh, you over there. What did you say? Yeah, he's right. He said 2.1 meters. Okay, so the radius is 2.1 meters. And I know that the formula for the area of the circle is pi times the radius squared. So if I know that the radius is 2.1, I can substitute that into my formula and get the answer. I say area equals pi times 2.1 squared. Okay. And again, BEDMAS rules apply, so I don't do pi times 2.1 and then square that. Get a 2.1 squared first, then multiply that by pi. Let's get out the calculator and do that. 2.1 squared times pi gives me 13.85 meters squared. Remember, this problem said meters. So that's my answer here. Area equals 13.85 meters squared. All right. So much for example 2. Only problem with it was that it was all words. I can turn words into pictures and figure it out pretty well. Okay. Now, as you've seen throughout this unit, once you get the basics of the formula down, the next challenge is applying the same formula backwards. And for some guys, the tricky part of this is having to use the square root, but you guys already did that a lot with Pythagorean theorem, so you should be pretty good at this by this point. It says the measure of the radius can be determined from the area. Just have to divide by pi and then take the square root. Really, all that means is use the formula, substitute what you know, and solve for your variable. So here it says, calculate the radius and the diameter for a circle whose area is 1,662 centimeters squared. Again, what formula am I going to use? This one here, up here, area is equal to pi times the radius squared. And then I substitute the numbers that I know in the spots that they belong in. So here, if I know the area is this, let me just put that in the spot for A. So the area, which is 1,662, is equal to pi times the radius squared. And once I've substituted in the numbers for the places where they should go, I just got to solve backwards, right? First thing I'm going to do, some of you have already figured this out. First thing I got to do, divide both sides by pi, because pi is working like a coefficient here. Remember, if you're not sure if you should square root first or divide by pi first, remember that when you're solving, you do reverse BEDMAS. Think of it as SAMDEB. So if normally BEDMAS says I do exponents first and then multiply, right? Then if I'm solving for the thing, I'd say, well, reverse BEDMAS would mean I take away the multiplication first and then I take away the exponent. So taking away the multiplication first means dividing both sides by pi. And again, here that just means the pi's cancel out. So that on the right side, I'm just left with r squared. I've got my equal sign right where it should be, right in the middle. And here I have 1,662 divided by pi. So I break out my calculator. 1,662 divided by pi gives me about 529.03. Oops. That is not what I intended to do. There we go. 529.03, I think it was. 529.03. And since I'm trying to find the radius here, my next step is going to be to square root both sides here. Right? So I'm going to square root r squared, because that will leave me with just r. And if I do that to the right side, that means I got to do the same thing to the left side. Let me square root 529.03. So I square root that, and I get, in this case, 23.0006. So even to the closest decimal point, the clearest hundredth, I get 23.00. I can just write 23 centimeters as my radius. Radius equals 23 centimeters. Now, if that's the radius, I've got to find the diameter. And if I know the radius, I know I haven't finished the problem yet because the problem asked me for two different things. If I want to find the diameter, then I know the diameter is just twice the radius. So I can get my radius, my diameter, still corrected 2 decimal places, still 46.00. So I can write that diameter equals 2 times the radius, just to make sure the Mr. Parr knows that I know what I'm doing. And that means that diameter is equal to 2 times 23, and that means that the diameter is equal to 46 centimeters. So that's my answer. I've answered both questions. Calculate the radius and the diameter for a circle with that area.